woke up to a scent. Rosewater mixed with something metallic, like cherry blossoms drenched in blood. My nose crinkled. My hand reached for my nightstand, where I discovered my pillowcase damp with perfume. But listen to this. The moment I sat up, I noticed a folded note beneath my glasses. "You'll always belong to me." No signature, no hint of who'd written it. My heart slammed against my ribs. I glanced around my dark bedroom. Every shadow suddenly felt alive. I grabbed my phone. No missed calls, no texts, no alerts. That's when I realized this wasn't a prank. I swung my legs off the bed, rose petals scattering to the floor. The metallic tang in the air made me nauseous. I shuffled to the mirror, pointed the flashlight on my phone at the note. The handwriting, curvy, familiar, too familiar. It was Mara's handwriting. Mara, my ex who'd never let me forget her favorite rose-scented perfume. The same perfume that used to cling to my shirt. The same perfume I refused to smell again after she stormed out that night 6 months ago. It gets worse. I backed away, tripped over a shoe, and bounced off the dresser. My flashlight skittered across the room and lit up the window. The glass was streaked. Someone had pressed their hand there. I froze. Then I heard it, a soft creak from the hallway. My pulse spiked as I crept toward the door, every nerve screaming. The door wasn't locked. My hands shook as I turned the knob. That's when I saw her, Mara, standing in the hallway, face pale, eyes bright under the moonlight. But something was off. Her hair was damp, like she'd been drenched in the same rosewater I smelled on my pillow. She smiled, slow, unnatural, like a mask slipping. "You forgot me," she whispered, tilting her head. It gets crazier. Behind her, I caught movement in the living room mirror. A second figure, hunched, swaying. I swung the phone's flashlight beam over. Empty air. But the silhouette's reflection lingered for a heartbeat before vanishing. Mara took a step forward. My throat went dry. I managed a shaky, "What do you want?" She laughed. A low, hollow sound that echoed down the hall. "Your attention," she said. "You always belong to me." But here's the kicker. I suddenly understood the reason this was happening. After the breakup, I cut all ties, blocked her on everything. But she couldn't let go. She needed control, and tonight, she was reclaiming it. I backed up and slammed the door shut, twisting the deadbolt. My breath rattled in my chest. Then, thud, 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 the pressure of something pounding on the other side. I grabbed my keys and fled down the stairs 2 at a time, not looking back. When I burst into the street, the night air felt like relief. No rose scent, no note. And when I glanced at my apartment window, nothing but dark glass. So yeah, it wasn't just perfume on my pillow. It was Mara's warning. She hadn't moved on. And the next time I smell roses, I won't just think of spring. I'll think of her footsteps echoing down my hallway. I just settled into my new apartment with a pepperoni pizza and a beer. Perfect end to a long week. My doorbell rang 20 minutes later. Weird, right? I double-checked my pizza app. Delivery complete at 7 p.m. It was now 7:20. I shrugged and padded to the door. There stood a guy in a red polo, holding a single brown box. Package for, He squinted at his clipboard. My eyebrows shot up. "Casserole?" I asked. "I didn't order a casserole." He blinked. "Casserole." He tore off a sticker, stuck it on the box. "Sign here." That's when it hit me. The slip had no name, just my address, scrawled in familiar handwriting. I signed, carried the box inside, and set it on the kitchen counter. My cat, Luna, sniffed around it like it was radioactive. I laughed. "Don't eat that, buddy." But listen to this. I opened the lid, expecting tinfoil. Instead, I found a crumpled t-shirt, old, frayed, with a lipstick stain at the collar. My heart sank. I yanked it out. Underneath lay a Polaroid. Me, asleep on my couch. It gets worse. I dropped both and stumbled back, staring. The photo was obviously recent. Luna curled up next to me, the pizza box still on the table. I grabbed my phone and checked my security cameras. Offline, every feed dead. And then I noticed a tiny handwritten note tucked under the shirt. Too slow. Panic prickled down my spine. I bolted for the window, smashed. A small hole in the glass, shards on the sill. Someone had clearly poked the lens of my outdoor camera. That's when I realized this wasn't a prank. It was a setup. Someone had timed my pizza, spied on me, and knew exactly when I'd be distracted. My pulse pounding, I dialed 911, whispered the address, and hid behind the couch. But wait, it gets crazier. Footsteps padded on the balcony outside my living room. Soft, careful. My cat hissed. I strained to hear over my own breathing. Click. The sliding door handle turned. I yanked the frying pan from the stove and inched toward the door. "Who's there?" My voice cracked. Silence. Then a whisper. "Surprise." I slammed the pan in front of me, breathing like I'd run a marathon. The door didn't budge. Whoever was out there was jiggling it. Sirens wailed in the distance. Thank God. I yelled, "Police, stay away." The rattling stopped. I bolted to the front door, unlocked it, and sprinted down the hall. I glanced back. No one in the hallway. No one on the balcony. Just empty silence. When the officers arrived, they found the box, the photo, the shredded t-shirt on my floor, and a few footprints leading to the balcony door. But no culprit. They dusted for prints. My ex's name came up, but the prints were smudged beyond recognition. The delivery guy, no record in the app or system. He'd vanished like smoke. So the real takeaway? Sometimes the simplest transactions hide the darkest intentions. I still get pizza every Friday, but now I sign for it at the door, inspect every package, and check every camera feed. Because next time, the delivery might not be a surprise t-shirt. It could be my last. I was fast asleep. Well, as fast as you can be when your nightstand is a battleground of empty coffee mugs and a laptop that sounds like a jet engine. My phone buzzed, 3:17 a.m. I groaned, slapped at the screen, and squinted at a message from Jess. "Why won't you talk to me?" At first, I laughed it off. Figured one of my buddies was pranking me. But then I remembered I'd blocked Jess 3 weeks earlier after that mess of a breakup. My heart did a weird little flip. I slid out of bed and shuffled to the couch, peeking at the thread. "I miss you." Then, "Please, I'm outside." But listen to this. The couch cushions next to me shifted, like someone had just sat down. I froze. My hand flew to the front door lock. It rattled, slow, deliberate, like someone was jiggling keys on the other side. I texted Jess back, fingers trembling. "Don't come in." Crack, my bedroom window snapped open. Glass tinkled onto the floor. My pulse went from 0 to 60 in seconds. I yanked out my phone to dial 911. But before I could even unlock the screen, another message popped up. "Let me in, or I'll break it." That's when it hit me. Jess wasn't alone. I heard soft footsteps behind me, paced and purposeful. I spun around and saw a second silhouette pressed against the glass. It gets crazier. I didn't stop to think. I darted to the kitchen, yanked a frying pan off the counter. It was the heaviest weapon I had, and flung the back door open, only to come face to face with a complete stranger. A guy in a hoodie holding a crowbar. No face, just that glint of metal. And here's the kicker. Jess's voice echoed from the living room, muffled but unmistakable. "Why are you doing this?" I swung the pan instinctively. He staggered back with a grunt, and I ran, straight out into the cold night. But that wasn't the end. As I burst into the street, I heard another door slam behind me. Sirens wailed in the distance, but when I turned to guide the patrol car back, there was nobody in sight, just the echo of footsteps disappearing into the darkness. The police found no forced entry, no broken windows upstairs, except that shattered pane at my window. My frying pan had a bent handle, and the crowbar, gone. The only clue, muddy footprints leading from my back door to the alley. It gets worse when you realize the person you thought you knew could plan something so orchestrated. The texts, the sudden accomplice, the timing. It all pointed to one truth. This was no drunken revenge. It was calculated. So yes, that text at 3 a.m. was just the opening act. The real nightmare was knowing someone you once trusted could assemble a squad, pound on your doors, and vanish like ghosts before the cops arrived. The lesson: when your gut screams, run, don't hesitate, because the next knock at your door might be the one that changes everything.